The core question I answered today is, what is the best way to prepare for the IELTS in 1 week? Hello, I'm Professor Wynn, author of the English Language TestPrep.com blog and IELTS instructor for more than 13 years now. 1 week to prepare for the IELTS is a challenge. I always suggest students begin 3 months before their desired test date. As you know, the test date can be influenced by the deadline for admissions to a university, by a scholarship agency, or immigration officials. So sometimes students are not in control of when they take the test. The best advice? Start early. I have 3 recommendations for students who have only 1 week to prepare for the exam. Now, the specific IELTS exam is not mentioned in the core question, but these 3 points are valid for both. Number one, know the test format. Number two, be ready for time management. And number three, take practice tests. 1 week is just not enough to prepare, as explained earlier. There are 2 IELTS exams: one, the general training, and two, academic. The general training is more for candidates who want to move to another country and work. The academic exam is more for candidates who want to study in an English speaking university, they are applying for a scholarship or a visa screen in the US. The IELTS exam is set up in 4 sections: listening, reading, speaking, and writing. Test centers handle the exam in a couple of ways. All 4 sections of the exam are taken the same day: listening, reading, speaking, and writing, or the 3 subject exams are given together one day and the speaking another. 2 sections differ in the general and academic exams: reading and writing. The academic exam is more difficult. However, the following 3 moves help candidates score higher for either exam within the 1 week limitation. Let's now start with my first recommendation to help you study for the IELTS in 1 week. Move number one: know the test format in the first week of preparation. This goes for all candidates of the exam, no matter how much time they have to prepare. Let's start with a closer look at the structure of the exam with its first section: listening. The first section for test takers, the listening exam, consists of 40 questions in 4 sections to answer in 30 minutes. Here's the key point: candidates must be active listeners and be able to understand main ideas. Reading. The second section is reading, which is usually 40 questions in 60 minutes. The general reading has tasks including newspaper articles and advertisements. The academic reading consists of extracts from magazines, books, and journals. Before revealing the key point for reading, I encourage you to kick your IELTS preparation into gear. Subscribe to one of my IELTS email blogs. For academic IELTS, visit bit.ly/IELTS blogs. And for the general training, bit.ly/IELTSGT. Get helpful tips and resources to help you maximize your score on the IELTS exam. Now, the key point for reading: candidates often don't finish the reading section. Don't linger. You can always guess if you don't know the answer to a question without any penalty. Speaking. Candidates go through 3 parts of this shortest section of the IELTS exam, only about 15 minutes. Number one, the interview. These are questions about your family, friends, career, and some quirky questions toward the end. Number two, the long turn. You have 1 minute to prepare a 2-minute monologue on a topic. And finally, number three, The discussion. A longer talk with questions about a broad issue, usually about the issue that was in part two of the long turn. A key point about speaking. It's of course important to know how you're graded, right? So remember to use the elements of the IELTS speaking grading criteria in your answers. You can get a link to the speaking criteria in the blog article that has all three of the points we're discussing today at bit.ly slash the number three IELTS ONE. Writing. The writing test consists of two tasks for a total of 60 minutes. Both the general and academic have an essay for writing task 2. Academic writing task 1 requires candidates to write a formal report about a graph, chart, map, or process. General writing task 1 has candidates to write a letter, whether informal, semi formal, or formal. The key point for writing. Unfortunately, many candidates are not prepared to write English when they start to prepare for the IELTS exam. However, with time, certainly more than a week, I'm afraid though, students can improve their skills. With the time pressure, be comfortable writing a 4-paragraph essay and know the format for writing task 1 depending on the exam. Now, let's look at my second recommendation to help you study for the IELTS in 1 week. Move number 2. Be ready for time management. Candidates should be aware of the various time limits for each section of the exam. Time management is one of the most serious challenges candidates face. Many times, test takers simply do not receive their desired scores because time expires. Don't let that happen to you. Here's the key point about time management. Good time management starts during your IELTS preparation. Practice each section of the exam with a stopwatch and stop when the alarm buzzes. You're not going to have that extra time on the test. This point ties into my next. Let's finally turn to the third recommendation if you only have 1 week to prepare for the IELTS exam. Move number 3. Take practice tests. IELTS test takers should budget most of their time during the week of preparation for taking mock exams. 1 week is really just too short for any deep studying for the IELTS test. Candidates should simulate test day conditions as much as possible before the big test day. And the key point about time management? Practicing the exam can help with time management. Save time by knowing the instructions for each section and the type of answers IELTS graders want. In conclusion, a week of IELTS preparation is not ideal by any means. Candidates should aim for at least 3 months of test prep. However, these 3 approaches do provide 3 ways for candidates to maximize their time if they only have 1 week to prepare for the IELTS exam. Number 1, know the test format. Number 2, be ready for time management. And number 3, take practice tests. Congratulations! You now know my 3 best recommendations for candidates who have just 1 week to prepare for the general or academic IELTS exam. Please visit the blog post at bit.ly slash the number 3 IELTS ONE to review all 3 tips right now. I'm Professor Wynn. Good luck on the IELTS exam.